next year's event. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, moving on to commissioner comments, starting with Commissioner Pelletier.
As always.
Oh, I can start with Commissioner, I can just go to the
I'm
other
just
end,
teasing. You always look this way for whatever reason.
because you're on my right,
I don't
sorry.
care. It doesn't matter. I, too, helped with parking the fishermen the first 2 days when the most of them are here, and learned a lot talking to those guys, and that's such a positive plus for our county that we just get the rewards just go on for months and months and months as that airs on TV throughout the nation. I was home watching, and I was in a group text with my fellow boat parkers, and they were talking about it was on this channel, and I hadn't tuned in, so I did. And the guy that won the tournament actually caught this fish, and they joked about it, and they said it's probably not even legal. He had to measure it, and it may be a ½ inch long enough to be counted as legal. He didn't get his limit that day. He only got 4 fish instead of 5, but he won by 3 ounces.
Yep.
Wow. So that one little old tiny fish, so
Yep.
put him over the top. It's just kind of a cute story, and have to be watching it when that happened. Mr. Stout, if you'd come forward, please, for just a second. I love to give those attaboys when you get those return comments from the constituents out there. A lady at Federal Point called me and got some ditch cleaning going on in her area, and she made a point to call me back and tell me about a man named Mr. Cooper. Is that right?
Yep, Coop.
And she said, I just want you to know he went above and beyond and went the extra mile. And I called Mr. Stout and said, please, put an attaboy in his box, and I'd like for you to just, hit on that just a little bit.
Cooper is one of the guys on our right-of-way crew that we were able to establish last year, and he runs the spider machine and a boom mower. And he was down at Federal Point taking care of some of those ditches down there. Trees were in the way. He took his time to get out, move some stuff that was in the way, and really make Federal Point look better. He's also working, we've got the spider back up and running. He's going to be back in the outfall off Silver Lake and Geck, cleaning that ditch out so that we can get some of that drainage going as well. We threw him in that spider last year and said, trial by fire, train by fire, trial by fire, however you want to say it. And he figured it out. But he's doing a great job for us, and we're starting to get those kind of phone calls. It's really nice Public Works to get those phone calls, and I appreciate it.
That makes you feel good. Please
Yep.
pass along our thanks to him.
Yes, sir. Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are those all your comments?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Suggs?
Yes, ma'am, I apologize. Wow, and wanting to talk about the festival, I forgot, and thank you, Commissioner Pelletier, for jogging my memory. I showed up Saturday morning at about 9 o'clock, and they were putting a stage up for entertainment for Saturday and Sunday at our courthouse. And I got the phone call Saturday morning about 9:15 that the power was not working at the courthouse. And so I reached out to Mr. Tim White, who is over our general services for our facilities and grounds. And first thing I said when he said, "Good morning, Mr. Suggs," was I said, "Well, I hate to do this." But I got to tell you that he showed up probably about 30 minutes later. Our first band was scheduled to start at noon, and at 11:32 he had the power on. And that's what he did a phenomenal job, diagnosed the issue, found a solution, went to Ace Hardware, picked up a couple of GFIs, installed those, and the music never stopped from noon Saturday till 5 o'clock Friday afternoon or Sunday afternoon. So, when we talk about the folks that we have working for this team and for Putnam County, they're a tremendous asset that you just can't replace. And Tim White is one of those folks. And I hope he's listening this morning. He didn't know I was going to do this, but I will do it publicly with him and personally with him, that when you make the phone call and they come and fix an issue, it's, I tell you, we can't ask for better staff. So, again, just wanted to say thank you to Tim publicly this morning, and let him know he did a great job. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Alexander?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to add to what Mr. Suggs has presented about this weekend's events. I was out of town the majority of the weekend, but I did have the honor of coming back and attending the mayor's reception. Mm-hmm. And we had a great turnout of folks from Putnam County and from outside of Putnam County. It was a classy event. Nothing but good things I've heard about what's going on downtown, the activities, also the actions that are being taken by the county as far as this group and the staff. I've never been to as many events lately that have been as positive. A lot of times these events, there's always some kind of negative undertone, but everything that I'm seeing now is moving in the right direction. And I feel that that's majorly a big part of our staff and the teamwork that we see amongst them. And that's all I've got for today.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner,
Well, I'm going to pile on. I was out of town too. We were not out of town together.
just for clarity.
Just for clarity. But, there is so much going on in Putnam County. I missed the Soul Food Festival, the Azalea Festival, the Bass Tournament, and thanks all of you guys for pulling all that together. And before I left, we're seeing boat traffic down on Lake Crescent like we haven't seen in years. And, I see those boats being pulled around, a full week ahead of time. Those guys are staying in hotel rooms. They're buying food. They're talking up Putnam County. So, thanks to all the community groups and staff and everybody. So, thank you.
Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to bring to the attention of the board, I think it was a week and a half ago, Representative Judson Sapp reached out to me about the veto list that had happened with Governor DeSantis, and we had a wastewater project on there. He asked me to reach out to staff to make sure they were going to try to do some type of resuscitation of those projects if they could. I reached out to staff. Staff was pleasantly surprised and penned a letter that you signed. And I took up there last week and met with Judson Sapp about this project. So for your area, they are looking at trying to revive that wastewater expansion that we desperately need out there. And then I had some other meetings that I will bring back to the board really quickly as soon as everything is ready for prime time. I do want to remind the board, if you haven't gotten an email, you will. The local technology planning team meeting this Thursday at 10:30. It's not our local technology planning team, but it's the state of Florida's major local technology planning team. And I did meet with the Department of Commerce. They have some really great information that they're going to share this coming Thursday. If the audience wants to be involved, we do have a link that you can plug in on that and just let us know. But let me kind of give you the brief highlights. $720 million have been spent so far on bringing broadband to Florida. $1.2 billion is still sitting out there and has to be done by October of 2026. So you're going to be seeing a big move. The other big move that I found out last Friday was that if you have let's say that the fiber goes down 17 but doesn't go to Earl's house, but Earl's been needing fiber at his place. If Earl would let us know, the Department of Commerce will get in touch with that contractor and actually change the contract and give them money to go ahead and go to Earl's house. So there's they want to spend this money. They don't want to send it back. They want to move these projects out, and you're going to learn more about that on the local technology planning team meeting on Thursday at 10:30 if you can make it. It's a Zoom meeting, and Mr. Ritchie will get that out to you. And let me piggyback on Bassmaster. I couldn't make it down there Sunday. I was just wore out from a thing I did on Saturday night with the National Guard people. But sitting there watching the accolades from these fishermen talking about Palatka and Putnam County and the river and the crowd and the hospitality that received, you cannot buy that kind of advertisement for our county. And you do see our members shine at that moment. I'm sure there's some disasters behind the scenes, but we all learn from those disasters and we move forward. But I can tell you, sitting there watching that online Sunday afternoon, Bassmasters, they've never been more excited to be in Putnam County and Palatka than they were Sunday afternoon. So hats off to our staff, hats off to the city of Palatka for what you've done. Our TDC partners and our chamber partners did an excellent job. And I tell you again, you can never, ever pay for that kind of publicity because word of mouth publicity is always the best. So thank you very much, Madam Chair, and that's the end of my comments.
Commissioner Alexander.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There is one thing I forgot, and, you know, I'm a big fan of giving credit where credit's due. And I want to let everybody know that Pico Boat Ramp, the new docks are in, and I would like to thank Terry Turner and Bill Pickens for dedicating the time and their dollars to finishing that project. Obviously, there's more work to do to the parking lot. We'll talk about that later, but they worked hard to get that done, and it looks amazing. And Matthew Holbrook and his crew, as well as Brian and another gentleman in the audience here, did a fantastic job of executing that.
Thank you. That was actually on my list, so thank you. I'll mark that off. Thank you, Mr. Minor, for your help with that. I'd also like to recognize February is Black History Month, and also in 24 days, we're going to have the Putnam County Fair from March 21st through the 29th. That's always an exciting time in Putnam County, and I know we all look forward to that. I do want to also comment regarding the bass tournament. I tried to go every day and visit and walk around and walk through the Azalea Festival. And I do want to thank Revitalize Historic Palatka for that's all completely volunteer run. And they put on that Azalea Festival, and we appreciate that for them and for them doing that and that hard work. And also, of course, the chamber, the city, the county. It takes a group of us to work together to get things done, and that's exactly what's happening. And thank you, Commissioner Alexander, for your comments about what you're hearing in the community. I think we are trying to continually move the ball forward and improve in Putnam County and the city. And we have a good partnership with them, and we want to work together as we move forward. I did also notice that we do have some derelict boats in the water, and I have reached out to our staff, and they're going to look into the process of how that is handled. It is different than the way it used to be. Apparently 3 years ago it was one way, and now it's another way, and so we have to figure that out to see if there's really anything we could do. But the process has completely changed, so that's why we haven't been able to get some of those boats removed like we should. Excuse me. Also, I want you guys to pay attention to the Rural Renaissance Bill being filed in Tallahassee. Remember, whenever you see bills filed, that approximately, and I'll just use a round number, 3,000 bills probably get filed in Tallahassee every year. Only about 10% of them actually make it through. So when you hear the rhetoric or you see the stuff on the news, don't get too worked up about it, because you need to follow. If it's something that's really near and dear to your heart, follow it through the process, because if it doesn't make through the committee stops, it's not going to make it on the floor. So pay attention. But one of the ones that could really affect Putnam County is the Rural Renaissance Bill, which was filed by Senator Corey Simon, and it is supported by Senate President Ben Albritton. And that's going to be very important to our small county, because it gives some protection for rural counties. And what we see throughout the state is money goes to big cities. So it doesn't come back to Putnam unless we're up there asking for that money. And, you know, I've seen people in the community make some comments on social media that Putnam County should not depend on state funds. We're not depending on state funds, but by God, we're going to go to the table and we're going to ask for them, because if we don't, then that money goes to Duval County, that money goes to Palm Beach, that money goes to all the big cities, because they have a lot more representatives than we do. And when you go and buy something in the store and you're paying a 7% sales tax, only 1% of that comes back to this county. The other 6% goes back to the state. And that money doesn't come back to Putnam unless we go up there and we apply for funding to come back to Putnam County. So that's why we do what we do with the state, and we try to work really closely with our state representative and our senators. But follow this bill. I'm hoping that it does go through at whatever version it can, but it's very important to Putnam County as we move forward, because it helps rural counties immensely. With that, do we have any other comments? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your time.